So I came across a post today on D.L. Hughley's IG that said they ended DEI and immediately proved why it needed to exist in the first place. And it made me think of so many instances as a black woman where I've been discriminated against just because I'm a black woman. I figured I'd share because a lot of people tend to think that we make shit up just for the fucks that we don't have. But this is our life. Literally, this is what we deal with every day. And we literally, when we say we have a black tax, that means that we have to be smarter, more skilled. We have to be more eloquent. Our looks are looked at more deeply. It's not enough that we're great, especially in a performance space. We have to be great and ambiguous. Let me run it back. This is probably like 10 years ago before I was full-time singing. So I was down bad. Like, I was like, okay, I got to figure out what to do because the math is not mathing on these bills and I need to find another job. I have experience as a property manager. I have about 8 years of experience in property management, had my real estate license at one point, thought I was going to get into that. God was like, nah, I'm going to keep you on this stage. So she did that happily. But I was down bad at this moment right before God pulled me back into music. I remember I had this amazing opportunity to work for a family-owned company because they own several properties in Glendale. They were looking for someone who was experienced in running and operating and managing multiple properties. The hours were exactly what I needed. They were also flexible, which helps for a creative. I literally went back and forth via email with this person because they were so impressed with my resume and like all the various things I've done, from leasing to managing to multi-property managing. And I used to run like 4 buildings in Hollywood by my damn self on a part-time schedule, okay? And my tenants fuck with me so hard that I would get Christmas presents. So I know what I do. Like, I know what I'm doing. I can do a job I hate, but I'm never going to do a job I hate and not do my fucking best. Does that make sense? Like, I'm always going to show up at any position I have, even if I don't want to do that job. So, get to the office. I'm like so excited. I feel relieved because I think I'm really going to get this thing. I walk in. First of all, the place is a fucking pigsty. There's files everywhere. It looks like nobody's touched this place in years. Also, I literally reorganized one of my company's entire file system. So, and they had at the time like 8 properties, and they had grandfathered them in. Anybody who knows property management knows that's a lot of fucking work, right? So, I walk in and it's sidebar. Prior to going into this interview, I had already emailed this woman back and forth because she was like, I can't wait to meet you because you're exactly what we've been looking for. I walk into this old Russian couple, okay? As soon as they see me, they go, can I help you? And I say, I'm here for the interview. And they say, oh, I thought you were Russian. My name is Dasha. It is a Russian name. Also, not the first time I've had somebody say that to me when I walked in for an interview. Oh, I thought you were Russian. Scandalo. And I was like, no, Russian name, not Russian. My mom's friend was Russian. My mom thought I was going to be a boy. She didn't have a name pick, so her friend at her job gave me the name Dasha. They look at me like, I say, so what, you don't want to interview me now? They look at each other and they have this look of like, well, we have to interview her because they know legally I can sue the fuck out of them. So they give me this obligatory interview, which basically they didn't listen to shit I had to say. I felt like I was sitting there tap dancing for my fucking life, knowing I was going to die anyway. Like the anxiety, the hurt that I felt in that moment was above and beyond. When I left that interview, I literally cried all the way to my car. As a grown-ass woman, that was the last time I allowed myself to cry about somebody discriminating against me purposely. Stories like this happen to people that you know every day. And I implore you to actually talk to your black friends and ask them a time they were discriminated against when they were overqualified. I can push it even further. The last wedding band company that I worked for, and this is across the board in the industry, your race matters more than what you can do on a stage. And I'll probably be the first singer to say some shit like this, but it is what the fuck it is. I've literally sat in front of executives of Sony, Interscope. I've sat in front of the Underdogs. I've sang for all these people. I've had people tell me to my face that I sing better than almost most, which I'll take, of the major people in the industry. But what has always been a problem? My color. Because if you haven't noticed, the lighter you are, the more you put on. And they don't push women that are like me. I'm not even a Coco Queen. I've literally had Narda Michael Walden tell me at the age of 13 that he wanted me to be more like Maya, implying he needed me to be light. The last wedding band I was in literally replaced all of our colorful people for people who fit the aesthetic that they wanted. And you see this happen all the time as a black singer, specifically a black female singer. This has been confirmed by people who still work with this company and people who have already jumped ships, that they continue to hire white girls that can't really sing. Okay? But when I tell you as Colorful Crew, we was playing down, singing down, playing down, singing down, getting encores and big tips. Okay? You see this happen all the time as a black singer, specifically a black female singer. It's not about if you can sing better than anybody. It's about what you look like singing. It's about if the client is going to feel comfortable looking at a black body singing to them. Or do they want someone who looks like their client? That's what it's about these days. It's not about how good you fucking are. Unless maybe you're a studio singer. Then there's a little more flexibility there. But when I tell you the most discrimination I've seen thus far has been in the music industry. When my album came out in 2012, the response I got from people was, damn, this is such a dope song for my single Loving You. But damn, it's too bad she's a black girl. From executives in the industry, and some of them were black. Like, the discrimination that us black singers get in this industry alone is enough to make y'all go, what? And then when you actually have to watch the people who do get some of the jobs, because I'm not gonna lie, some of my friends can sing, some of my white girlfriends can sing, but there are some, honey, that I'm like, bruh, I could sing this like with 30% of my voice better than what she's doing. And it's just no shade, just facts. Like, if we're gonna hire the best, let's hire the best. And this is exactly why DEI was created. And all the while, they have sold to y'all, meaning you, most of y'all white folks who believe the bullshit, that we were getting a pass, that we were just getting let in because we're black and, oh, we got to make things fair. No, you need to make things fair in regards to merit, experience, and actual execution of a job. That's why this was created, so that we have access to rooms that y'all wanted to shut us out because you'd rather have white mediocre people in these positions or white train wrecks and dumpster fires and alcoholics that are running this country rather than overqualified people of color. That's why DEI was created. And then that pushes us to the HBCUs, which white people always want to say, well, why'd y'all have your own colleges? Why would you do that? And white people can't get in. Motherfucker, because DEI, nigga. Like, we couldn't get into white institutions even though we outsmart y'all. So we created our own institutions. And then when we do that, it's a fucking problem. When people decide to hire all black musicians or all female musicians, it's a fucking problem. But nobody wants to even acknowledge the fact that there is a disproportionate like amount of unemployed people of color, because white is right across the board in this country. And if one artist or one company decides to give access to a race of people who are denied it despite the fact of their qualifications, talent, and abilities, that is fair. That is necessary. So all of y'all people who don't understand DEI, and if you have a black friend, because y'all love to tell me, y'all, I got black friends, ask your black friend a time where they were overqualified and were denied access to an institution or a job. And I bet you they will have more than at least 3. I bet you.